This classified story about the 1,960 dive to the bottom of the Mariana Trench shocked millions of people. Watch to the end. This story about the sinking of Walsh and Piccard is based on real events and has shocked millions of people. It will show you about the political problems that have arisen, the dangers of unexplored edges, and will change your ideas about the Mariana Trench and humanity. This animal at the bottom of the Mariana Trench shocked everyone. The depths of mystery. The Mariana Trench, the deepest part of the world's oceans, has always been a place of mystery and fear. For centuries, sailors told tales of monstrous creatures lurking in its abyssal darkness, waiting to drag ships and their crews into the void. By 1960, science had begun to peel back the layers of these myths, but the trench still held secrets that no one could have imagined. It was in this year that U.S. Navy Lieutenant Don Walsh and Swiss oceanographer Jacques Picard embarked on a historic dive aboard the bathyscaphe Trieste, a vessel designed by Jacques' father, Auguste Piccard. Their mission was to reach the bottom of the Challenger Deep, the deepest known point in the trench. What they discovered there would change the course of history and plunge them into a web of intrigue, danger, and unimaginable wonder. Chapter 1. The Descent. The Trieste was a marvel of engineering, a massive, balloon-like submersible designed to withstand the crushing pressures of the deep ocean. As Walsh and Piccard began their descent, the world above faded into darkness. The only sound was the creaking of the hull as the pressure increased with every meter they sank. "Pressure readings are holding steady," Walsh reported, his voice calm but tinged with excitement. "We're approaching 8,000 meters. Piccard, seated beside him, adjusted the instruments. "Everything looks good. Let's hope the legends about this place are just that, legends." As they descended further, the sonar began to pick up strange readings. Unusual shapes appeared on the screen, too large and irregular to be rocks. Walsh frowned. "What do you make of that?" Piccard leaned closer. "I'm not sure. It could be a geological formation, but it's moving." Chapter 2. The Discovery. At 10,916 meters, the Trieste touched down on the ocean floor. The exterior lights illuminated a barren, alien landscape. But as the beams swept across the seabed, they revealed something that made both men gasp. A massive creature, unlike anything ever documented, lay partially buried in the sediment. It was over 20 meters long, with a serpentine body covered in bioluminescent scales. Its head was crowned with long, tendril-like appendages that glowed faintly in the darkness. The creature's eyes, large and lidless, seemed to stare directly at them. "My God," Walsh whispered. "What is that?" Piccard, his scientific curiosity overriding his fear, began recording. This could be the discovery of the century. A living relic, something that survived here for millions of years. But as they watched, the creature stirred. Its massive body shifted, sending clouds of sediment swirling around the Trieste. The submersible rocked violently, and alarms blared as the pressure hull groaned under the strain. "We need to get out of here," Walsh said, his voice tight with urgency. Chapter 3. The Race Begins. Back on the surface, news of the discovery spread like wildfire. Scientists, military officials, and corporate executives all wanted a piece of the creature. The U.S. Navy, eager to maintain control, classified the mission. But leaks were inevitable. In Washington, D.C., Cold War tensions were at their peak. The Soviet Union, hearing rumors of the discovery, began planning their own expedition. Meanwhile, a powerful biotech corporation, Oceanic Dynamics, saw the creature as the key to revolutionary medical breakthroughs and immense profits. Walsh and Piccard found themselves caught in the middle. The Navy pressured them to keep quiet, while Oceanic Dynamics offered them millions for exclusive rights to the creature. Piccard, driven by scientific curiosity, wanted to study the creature openly. Walsh, a loyal Navy officer, was torn between duty and the desire to protect the discovery from exploitation. Chapter 4. The Environmental Threat. As the world's attention turned to the Mariana Trench, the fragile ecosystem of the deep ocean came under threat. Fishing trawlers, oil rigs, and research vessels descended on the area, disrupting the delicate balance of life in the depths. The creature, which Piccard had named Abyssus magnifica, began to exhibit strange behavior. It became more aggressive, attacking submersibles and even surfacing briefly near a fishing vessel. Scientists theorized that the increased human activity was disturbing its habitat, but no one could predict the full consequences. Meanwhile, environmental activists warned of the dangers of exploiting the deep ocean. "We're playing with forces we don't understand," one activist declared. "If we're not careful, we could unleash something far worse than we can imagine." Chapter 5. Personal Conflicts. The pressure began to take its toll on Walsh and Piccard. Walsh, haunted by the creature's eerie gaze, began to question the morality of their mission. "What if we're not meant to disturb it?" he asked Piccard one night. "What if it's a guardian of some kind?" Piccard, ever the rationalist, dismissed the idea. "It's just an animal, Don. A remarkable one, yes, but still an animal. We have a duty to science to study it." Their disagreements grew more heated, fueled by exhaustion and fear. Walsh's military training clashed with Piccard's scientific idealism, creating a rift between the two men. Chapter 6. Myths come to life. As the creature's attacks became more frequent, ancient legends began to resurface. Fishermen spoke of a leviathan that guarded the depths, while indigenous communities warned of a sea god that would punish humanity for its arrogance. Piccard scoffed at the superstitions, but Walsh couldn't shake the feeling that there was truth to the stories. "What if they're right?" he asked. "What if we've awakened something that should have stayed hidden?" Chapter 7. Technological Progress. New technologies played a dual role in the unfolding drama. Advanced submersibles and sonar systems allowed scientists to study the creature in unprecedented detail, but they also enabled military and corporate interests to pursue it more aggressively. Oceanic Dynamics developed a massive underwater drone designed to capture the creature, while the U.S. Navy deployed a fleet of armed submersibles to protect their interests. The race to control Abyssus magnifica escalated, with each side pushing the limits of technology and ethics. Chapter 8. The Final Confrontation. The climax came when the Soviet Union launched their own expedition, sparking a tense standoff in the depths of the trench. Walsh and Piccard, now working together despite their differences, realized that the only way to prevent disaster was to protect the creature from all sides. In a daring maneuver, they used the Trieste to lure the creature away from the conflict zone, guiding it to a remote part of the trench. As they did, they witnessed something extraordinary. The creature released a cloud of bioluminescent particles that seemed to calm the surrounding waters. "It's communicating," Piccard realized. "It's trying to tell us something." Chapter 9. The Aftermath. The world was captivated by the discovery of Abyssus magnifica. Newspapers, radio broadcasts, and television programs were filled with sensational headlines. "Leviathan of the Deep Found." "Scientists unearth ancient sea monster." Cold War tensions rise over ocean discovery. The creature became a symbol of the unknown, a reminder that even in the 20th century, there were still mysteries that defied explanation. For Walsh and Piccard, life after the dive was anything but normal. They were hailed as heroes in some circles and vilified in others. Environmentalists praised them for protecting the creature, while military and corporate interests accused them of jeopardizing national security and economic progress. The two men found themselves thrust into the spotlight, their every move scrutinized by the media. Piccard, ever the scientist, was eager to continue studying Abyssus magnifica. He published a groundbreaking paper detailing the creature's biology and behavior, sparking a wave of interest in deep-sea exploration. But he also faced criticism from colleagues who accused him of sensationalism. "This isn't about fame," Piccard insisted. "This is about understanding our planet." Walsh, on the other hand, struggled to reconcile his military background with his newfound role as an environmental advocate. He was haunted by the creature's gaze, which seemed to pierce through the Trieste's hull and into his soul. It wasn't just an animal, he confided to Piccard. It was something more. Chapter 10. The Global Response. The discovery of Abyssus magnifica had far-reaching implications. Governments around the world began to reevaluate their approach to ocean exploration and conservation. The United Nations convened an emergency session to discuss the protection of the Mariana Trench and other vulnerable ecosystems. The U.S. and Soviet Union, despite their Cold War rivalry, agreed to a temporary truce, recognizing the need for international cooperation. But not everyone was on board. Oceanic Dynamics, the biotech corporation that had sought to exploit the creature, launched a covert operation to capture Abyssus magnifica. They believed that the creature's unique biology held the key to revolutionary medical treatments and immense profits. Their plan involved a state-of-the-art submersible equipped with tranquilizers and a reinforced containment unit. Meanwhile, indigenous communities from the Pacific Islands began to speak out. They shared ancient legends of a guardian of the deep, a being that protected the oceans from human greed. "The creature is not ours to take," one elder warned. "It is a part of the ocean, and the ocean is a part of us." Chapter 11. A New Mission. Walsh and Piccard, realizing that their work was far from over, decided to return to the Mariana Trench. This time, their mission was not to explore, but to protect. They partnered with environmental organizations and indigenous leaders to establish a sanctuary around the Challenger Deep, ensuring that Abyssus magnifica and its habitat would be preserved for future generations. The journey back to the trench was fraught with tension. The Trieste had been upgraded with new technology, but the risks were still immense. As they descended into the abyss, Walsh couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. "Do you think it remembers us?" he asked Piccard. "I don't know," Piccard replied, "but I do know that we owe it this. We owe it to the ocean." Chapter 12. The Encounter. When they reached the bottom, they found Abyssus magnifica waiting for them. The creature's bioluminescent scales glowed softly in the darkness, casting an eerie light on the seabed. It moved gracefully, its tendrils swaying as if in greeting. Piccard activated the Trieste, its recording equipment, capturing every detail of the encounter. Walsh, meanwhile, felt a profound sense of peace. "It's not a monster," he said. "It's beautiful." But their moment of awe was interrupted by an alarm. The sonar detected another submersible approaching Oceanic Dynamics vessel. The corporation had tracked their movements and was determined to capture the creature. Chapter 13. The Standoff. What followed was a tense underwater standoff. The Trieste positioned itself between Abyssus magnifica and the corporate submersible, its lights flashing a warning. Walsh and Piccard communicated with the other vessel, urging them to stand down. "This creature is not yours to take," Piccard said over the radio. "It belongs to the ocean." The corporate team, however, was undeterred. They launched a tranquilizer dart, narrowly missing the creature. Abyssus magnifica reacted with surprising intelligence, using its tendrils to deflect the dart and retreat into the darkness. Walsh, realizing that diplomacy had failed, made a bold decision. He activated the Trieste's emergency buoyancy system, causing the submersible to rise rapidly. The sudden movement created a shockwave that disoriented the corporate team, forcing them to abandon their mission. Chapter 14. A New Understanding. Back on the surface, Walsh and Piccard were hailed as heroes once again. The failed corporate expedition sparked a public outcry, leading to stricter regulations on deep-sea exploration. Oceanic Dynamics faced legal consequences, and the sanctuary around the Mariana Trench was officially established. But for Walsh and Piccard, the real victory was the newfound respect for the ocean and its mysteries. They had set out to explore the depths, and had instead discovered something far greater, a connection to the natural world that transcended science, politics, and profit. Epilogue. The Legacy of the Depths of the Sea. Years later, the legacy of Walsh and Piccard continued to live on. The reserve they helped create has become a model for ocean conservation, inspiring similar efforts around the world. The magnificent abyss remained a symbol of the unknown, a reminder that we still have a lot to learn about our planet. Walsh, now retired from the Navy, has dedicated his life to protecting the environment. "The ocean is our greatest treasure," he often said. "We must protect it, not only for our own sake, but also for the sake of the creatures who call it home." Piccard continued his scientific work, mentoring a new generation of oceanographers. "The depths of the sea are the last frontier," he wrote in his memoirs. This is a place of wonders, mysteries, and endless possibilities. This incident forced humanity to reconsider its relationship with the ocean. The United States and the Soviet Union signed a treaty to protect the Mariana Trench, while Oceanic Dynamics abandoned its plans to exploit the creature. Walsh and Piccard, forever changed by their experiences, became advocates for ocean conservation. This creature, Abyssus magnifica, remains a symbol of the mysteries that still lurk beneath the waves, and a reminder that some secrets are better left unsolved. His story has become a legend passed down from generation to generation, a testament to the power of discovery and the importance of humility in the face of the unknown. As Walsh later wrote in his diary, "We went to the bottom of the ocean to discover a monster. Instead, we found a mirror reflecting our own fears, ambitions, and the fragile beauty of the world we share." The end. What do you think about this story? Write in the comments, subscribe, and wait for the next video, in which I will tell you about an equally shocking animal that surprised the whole world. If you don't subscribe, you will make a huge mistake.